Hey clowns, today is Wednesday, May 20th, 2020, and I was lucky enough to make it outside today. It's decent weather. It's a little chilly, but other than that, it's pretty good. So today I figured I'd take you outside. I brought some of my cool camping gear out with me, and I thought I'd show you around a little bit. So here, let me flip the camera around and let's take a look at some things I brought out of some things that I make sure I bring whenever we go camping. All right, the first thing that I brought, we call a mess kit. And a mess kit is what you'd use if you to eat while you're out camping. And it's nice and easy. It's something light, something that can be washed. And I put it in this mesh bag so that when I'm done and I wash all my dishes out, I can just hang this bag up on a tree or somewhere and it'll drip dry right out through the bag, and it keeps it nice and safe. But inside my bag of my mess kit, I have this handy dandy little gadget, which is pretty cool, pretty standard for camping. You just loosen up this screw a little bit, and this handle, it's hard to do one-handed, swings around, tighten it back up. And then inside is everything I would need for quick, easy camp cooking and camping, well, kind of. So first I have a little like bowl or a little plate I would use to eat on. All right. Inside, underneath that, which also counted as the lid, is a little pot. A little pot for cooking, which is perfect to stick right on your campfire so that you can cook some meals. And then inside my pot even, if you open up the lid, there's a little cup. Perfect for drinking, right? Nice and simple. Everything fits together. And then if you look at the my top part turned into a handle for like a frying pan, so I could cook on the campfire like I was cooking on my stove, right? So some easy camp meals that we like to make are, we do eggs a lot, or pancakes for breakfast. We do spaghetti, things that are real easy to bring along. Hot dogs and hamburgers, obviously, but those you don't necessarily need your mess kit to cook with, right? And then you just swing it back around, and it comes back together. Great. And then, of course, you obviously need some utensils. So we have two different types of utensils that we like to use. We either have this pretty handy tool, which is like an all-in-one look. So it's got a little serrated part up here for a knife. It's got a fork end. And then if you flip it over, it also has a spoon end. So that's like all-in-one. We also have this cool little set that I found. And it pops open. And they just pop together, and it's got utensils to make a spoon, a knife, a fork, or you can pop these pointy ends on, and it even makes chopsticks, which doesn't matter to me, but Mr. Matt, my husband, he gets really excited for those because he, I don't know, loves using chopsticks. All right, so those are some of the utensils, and that's what I use when we go camping to eat or to cook with. Some other really important things that we like to bring is bug spray and sunscreen, right? You are outside, and especially if you're like in the woods or anything, there's bugs all the time, not just at nighttime. So it's really important that you make sure you put on bug spray all the time, or we found for the boys these pretty cool, they're like insect bands. So you can just put them on like a bracelet or your ankle and wear them around, and then you don't have to worry about spraying bug spray on, and they work pretty good too. And then, of course, like I said, sunscreen, because you're outside all day in the sun. You want to make sure you get sunscreen on so you don't get burnt, because that would be no fun. All right. The next thing that's really important to make sure you're doing while you're outside is drinking water all day. And of course, you're going to bring your water bottles. We bring jugs of water. But a handy little tool that Matt and I found is this really cool thing called a life straw. And this comes in handy if you're out hiking or if you're in the woods and you ran out of water, or you forgot water, and you're really thirsty. You don't just want to drink water from the stream, because you don't know what kind of bacteria, what kind of bugs and germs or anything are inside the water. So we can use this cool life straw, and you just pop off the end here. And if you look, there's like a filter in there. And then you would pop off this top. Again, one-handed. Pop off this top, and you would just suck on it like a straw. You put the filter end in the water and the mouth part, and you suck through, and that filter end filters anything that's bad out of the water for you, and then it's safe for you to drink, which we thought was pretty cool and comes in really handy. And the last thing I want to talk about that I make sure I always bring is some sort of flashlight or lantern. And we got this pretty cool lantern at Costco a couple years back, because it's got a couple different settings. It goes really bright and dimmer and even dimmer and off. And it's really nice if you need to go out walking somewhere, or if you need to go find something in your tent, or you just want the light on to read, right? There's different settings for different brightnesses, which is really handy. All right, now we're going to take a quick walk over and we're going to see I set up our tent in the backyard, which the boys are loving. And I want to go over a couple things when you're trying to set up a tent to go camping. The first thing when you set up a tent to go camping is you want to make sure you find flat ground. You want everything as flat as possible so you're not leaning one way or the other. And you also want to make sure you clear underneath so there's no sticks or rocks, or my yard has, I don't see any right near me, but we have all these little monkey balls. So I had to make sure that there were none of those under our tent. Those would be pretty painful to lay or sleep on top of, right? And find in the middle of the night in your back, owie. The next thing I want to show you when we have our tent, if you look, I have a tarp underneath my tent. Now my tarp's a little too big. We haven't trimmed it down yet, but you want to have a tarp under your tent, and that's really important. Hey, that's my puppy Thomas. That's really important to keep the inside of your tent dry, because at night, when the dew comes and drips down, or sometimes the ground's just like wet, right? You don't want that to seep into your tent, because then your sleeping bag and all your stuff is going to get all wet, and that is pretty gross. So you want to try and keep it dry as much as possible. So we put a tarp under our tent. And then there's also, so we have the tent, and then this handy part on the tent, this right here, it's called the rain fly. And that protects our tent to make sure that no rain gets inside our tent, because if the water touches the sides of the tent, if you touch that side on the inside of the tent, then you're going to get wet. So it's really important to make sure that you have the rain fly on, so that if it does rain, that it keeps you dry. You also want to make sure you want to anchor your tent. Now we of course couldn't find the stakes, so I anchored it with some bricks, and that's totally fine, right? But you want something, so that's anchoring my rain fly so it's away from the side of my tent. But it also is important to make sure so that it doesn't blow away, right? You want your tent to stay in place. And here's the inside of my tent. We've got our sleeping bag set out, and I stuck, of course there's toys too, but I did stick a couple more bricks on the inside to make sure our tent didn't fly away. And when you're picking spots, we like to snuggle up close to help keep us extra warm at night, right? Because it gets really cold at nighttime. And something else that I really like to have, other than just my sleeping bag and tons of blankets and pillows, because Matt says I like to go glamping a little bit, is we also make sure we have, under my sleeping bag is like a foam pad, just for extra support to lay in case there are little bumps or rocks or sticks underneath, just for extra support so you're not laying on flat ground. Or sometimes I really like to bring like a little blow-up mattress and put that under my sleeping bag, but that's like super glamping, so I figured I wouldn't show you that one. So that is my tent and our little campsite that I built for you guys to show, and the boys, and we've been playing in all day. And here I am, I'm gonna flip the camera back around. Now I'm gonna show you a little clip of a video that I made a couple nights ago. Actually, we didn't do it today, obviously, because in my video it's nighttime, it's dark out, but we made a campfire, and one thing that we did around the campfire was we sang some campfire songs, so I thought you might enjoy that. All right, here it goes. I hope you have a great rest of your day afterwards, and otherwise I'll see you on Friday. Bye, friends. All right, clowns, one thing I like to do while we're at a campfire is sing campfire songs. And I don't know about you, but I know tons of campfire songs, and luckily we have this really neat book that has some campfire songs and has some music to go along with it. So I'm going to flip the camera around and you can watch the campfire, listen to my beautiful singing, and join along if you know the words. Alrighty. Alright, the first song we're going to sing is The Bear Went Over the Mountain. The bear went over the mountain, the bear went over the mountain, the bear went over the mountain to see what he could see. And all that he could see, and all that he could see was the other side of the mountain, the other side of the mountain, the other side of the mountain was all that he could see. Great job. All right, the next song that we're going to sing is actually a song that I learned in Girl Scouts. I don't know if any of you have siblings that are in Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts, but I was in Girl Scouts for a while, and I learned this song, and it's called Make New Friends. And let me find the button for it. Ready? Make new friends, but keep the old. One is silver and the other's gold. A circle is round, it has no end. That's how long I want to be your friend. Awesome. All right, the next song we're gonna sing is John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt. And if you don't know it, I'm sure Mom and Dad know it, to sing along with you. Ready? John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt, his name is my name too. Whenever we go out, the people always shout, there goes John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And then this book ends it, but you could keep going over and over and over with that one, and it's a lot of fun. All right, and the last song that we're gonna sing is actually one that we like to end the evening with. It kind of calms us down, reminds us that it's time to relax, settle, and get ready for bed. And it's called Day is Done. And it's this one. Day is done, gone the sun, from the lakes, from the hills, from the sky. All is well, safely rest, God is nigh. All right, I hope you enjoyed singing along with me, and I hope you can think of some other fun campfire songs or songs to sing around the campfire so that you can have your own fun. All right,